Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out Zebec's chart and see what is happening in the short term. And I'm actually going to show you a bit of a bullish possibility, suggesting, you know what, we may not need to go down anymore. But before we get into all that, we are going to talk about this very important tweet from Zebec. And in case you missed it, they recently dropped their August number. And this honestly is the kind of update that actually shows what is happening in the real world, not just some hollow promises. And this report, well, let's say actually this picture breaks things down into two main areas: payroll and Zebec cards. And first, let's talk about payroll. We are talking about $45 million in monthly revenue, and that's not a small figure. It means over 234 businesses are right now trusting Zebec to handle payroll, which is actually one of the most critical parts of running a company. And you want to know that payroll isn't something that you switch around every other month. So if these numbers are here, trust me, these are actually here to stay, and they are simply not just going to go away in the next couple of months. Now, on top of that, about I think 12,000 employees are directly now getting paid through Zebec, and that is 12,000 people basically being brought into crypto through their salaries, which is awesome. Now, let's talk about Zebec cards as well, because here the numbers are even more and more eye-catching. You see, the cards are seeing at the moment about $57.4 million in annualized volume, and that is up about 8%. But the real highlight, in my view at least, is the 17,000 cards issued, which is a 40% jump. This is actually a massive jump in just a rolling 4-week period, and that kind of growth is really fast, and it does, in my view, suggest that the product is actually sticking with the users. And also, by the way, I forgot to tell you this, you want to know that Zebec cards are already active in 97 countries, which shows that they have successfully been able to navigate a lot of different regulations, and that is definitely something that most crypto companies are right now struggling with. Now, in terms of why do we care about this, you see, I think it's very important to note that these are actual traceable metrics, and Zebec right now is showing that blockchain isn't simply just about speculation. No, their technology is fully able to handle real payrolls and real card payments, and it is essentially a bridge between traditional finance and crypto, but it is done in a way that people and businesses can actually use it today. Now, in my view, the overall numbers in Zebec are looking very promising, and there are actually two very important points in here. And number one, we talked about it earlier, is the 41% surge in card issuance that is showing the adoption curve is just bending upward, and that usually means that momentum is starting to compound. Second, on the business side, pulling in 234 enterprise clients is a massive deal, because let's be honest, companies do not just simply jump onto new platforms unless the security and compliance are very much solid. So this number, in my view, is the real validation that Zebec's system works at an enterprise level. And then there is the network effect. You see, every new company that uses payroll and also every new person who gets a card is going to make the whole ecosystem more and more valuable for the next user. That's actually the kind of growth that can scale really quickly. And finally, this is my last point, I promise you, Zebec, like we talked about it at the beginning of the video as well, is not just relying on a single product. They got payroll and also cards, and these are two different revenue streams that are both expanding big time according to their numbers, and that kind of diversification makes the project stronger, and it is giving them more path to future growth. Now, talking about the future, the question is, what does this actually mean? Let's say for the mid to long term. Here is the situation. I think we can all agree that more usage means more on-chain activity in the future, and if the ZBCN, I'm talking about the token, is tied into transactions, governance, or maybe even fees, well, okay, that actually directly connects network growth to token demand, and that is where the fundamentals are starting to line up with tokenomics. So overall, as we attract more and more adoption, I do think you are going to see more and more demand for the ZBCN token. And this kind of adoption, by the way, also actually opens doors. You see, if Zebec is already handling payroll and cards at a scale big time, well, okay, the next step, I don't know, could be, for example, expanding into things like treasury management, maybe even cross-border payments, or even banking infrastructure for enterprises. And I want to be very clear, none of these are happening right now, but you know, if they are going to be successful down the line, why shouldn't they expand their ecosystem a bit more? Also, on top of that, growth like this is going to make Zebec far more attractive for outside partnerships and integrations. And as the token grows, in my view, other projects and also financial institutions will want to plug into the network that already has the proven traction. And part of that traction, in my view, sort of kind of does come down to the market cap. And right now, I think we are like at rank 150, which is not really that great. But if we are going to have an altcoin season in this cycle, and so far I think everything is actually on track for that, well, okay, I'm gonna say probably the tokens that are having the best fundamentals, and maybe, do not quote me on this, please, the tokens that are actually United States based, most of them are actually going to participate in this cycle. And Zebec, guess what, actually checks all those boxes. So in terms of fundamentals, I think we are definitely having great numbers in here, and the future does look very much bright. Now, having said all that, let's go on the live chart and see what is going on the technical side of stuff in the short and also mid to long term. Okay, here we are. And if you remember the last time that we talked about Zebec, we were right around here, and the idea was that this can be ABC up, correction down, and odds are we are going to see yet another move on the upside in order to get to about the middle band of this beautiful ascending channel. So as you can see, we got that move up, and the idea back then was that, well, okay, maybe we are having the subwaves in here for an ABC zigzag, completing the subwaves on a higher degree for a WXY, actually in form of a double zigzag. The question is, can we still argue this scenario is happening? I'm here to tell you yes, and here is how I can argue that. You see, I can say maybe we are having, let's just take this one, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up into an A leg. There we go. Correction for wave B, and another beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave on the upside into our C leg. And this point might very well be the end of our wave Y, meaning what? Yup, in Zebec, we can expect a short-term move on the downside in order to real quick sweep all the lows and take them all, which the lowest low is about, let's say, 0.355. But I'm telling you right now, I do not believe that we're going to go a whole lot lower. And in fact, if we end up getting a dip like that, I'm going to take advantage of that dip big time and probably buy some good amount of Zebec. Now, question though, what if we are not going to end up having that dip? You see, any analyst at any given moment should be able to come up with a bullish and also a bearish count at the same time. And the reason that in every single update I talk about different possibilities is literally in the interest of being 100% objective. Now, in Zebec in the short term in this area, I do think there might be sort of a bullish count, and maybe it's best to go on a less busy chart, maybe from OKX. Do we have good looking candlesticks? Absolutely not. Let's go. How about crypto.com? No, we really do not have better looking candlesticks in here as well. How about this one? Okay, that's actually not bad. This chart, yep, it's from Bybit. Now, here is how I can argue that in Zebec, we are actually looking bullish and optimistic. First things first, as you can see, in this specific move down in ZBCN, in Bybit's chart, we actually took this important low down here. So basically, if you want to go according to this chart, you literally do not have any unfinished business around here. In other words, we can say, look, the bottom is in, and we are not really going to have that much of a strong dip. And now it is time for a huge move on the upside. And why do I believe on a huge move up? Because one way or the other, in my view, there's like a very high chance this is a corrective movement and it does have literally all the right characteristics. For instance, this move down is taking us quite a long time. Let's just measure it real quick. Timing wise, as you can see, to around the current price action, this is taking us about 60 days. On the other hand, this move up only and only happened in about 30 days, and this is like a much bigger of a move. So what does that mean? This suggests despite having way more than enough time in this phase down in ZBEC, bears absolutely failed to pull the price all the way back down to these levels, meaning what? Bulls probably do have quite a good bit of power, and odds are in this phase we're just gathering the fuel for the next huge bull run in ZBEC. And for example, you can consider two different possibilities in this area. If you really want to be optimistic, I think you can say, look, we are having, excuse me, let's just do this, off of the lowest low, 5 wave up into a wave 1, correction for wave 2, and was 6. You know it, big move up into wave 3 and 4 and 5. Now, even if you want to be pessimistic, I think you should probably, even according to that scenario, say, this is 5 wave up. Okay, fair enough. Let's say it's going to be into an A leg, correction for wave B. And what's next? I think you know it. Another strong move on the upside into our C leg. And in this phase, we are going to at least take the highest side in here for the first target, about 0.7 of a cent. But I think we are probably going to go quite a bit higher than that. So in ZBEC, one way or the other, we are looking bullish. But whether from the current point we're going to get a move down, or maybe instead from here we're just going to immediately get a very strong bounce, you know what, fair enough, that can be up for debates. Now, here is the bullish scenario that I talked to you about earlier. Let's go on maybe 30-minute time frame. So you see, sure, this can be from this point like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, I actually do not like this scenario. I actually have a better count in my mind, and in my view, this can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, and another move up into wave 5. And according to the bullish scenario, this yellow 5 wave up can be into a larger degree wave 3, correction for 4, another move up into wave 5, and let's just change the colors. There we go. Even this white 5 wave up, according to our bullish count, is going to be into a wave 3, correction for 4, another move on the upside into wave 5. Now, here is the situation. I'm telling you right now, if this scenario is in play in ZBEC, then okay, number one, our move up has to, this is the key word, has to accelerate quite a bit, maybe in the next 5 to 7 days. Point number two, if this scenario is happening, then okay, odds are in the next phase upcoming, hopefully soon in ZBEC, we are going to take this important high about, let's say, 0.48 of a cent. If we do this, that's going to be like a really bullish sign, suggesting, you know what, we have indeed hit our final low, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, and maybe right around here is not necessarily going to be a long opportunity, since even if you want to go according to the most bullish count after a 5 wave up, what are we going to have? You know it, a move on the downside. But I'm telling you right now, that move, if it's going to have certain characteristics, and by that we are talking about this move being slow and choppy, it's actually going to be a fantastic long opportunity. And you can definitely at that point argue, look, on a higher degree, this is 1, this is 2, and what's next? Yep, you guessed that right. Huge move up into wave 3, 4, 5. And in case that you are a new viewer, you should know that in terms of Elliott waves, wave 3 is known to be quite a strong and large move on the upside. So, you know, right around here can indeed be a great buy opportunity, as long as we are going to see a very strong bounce in the next coming days. If we do this, it is going to be, trust me, a fantastic bullish sign. And I'm not really sure if you like classic patterns, but if you do, well, okay, I'm guessing the moment that we clear the highs in here, you are going to argue, look, we are having a beautiful looking double bottom structure. And do not get me wrong, this scenario can absolutely be in play. And the moment that we confirm this pattern is actually happening, and by confirming it, I mean we go above the neckline, do a pullback, and then we get a continuation of the move up. At that point, you can expect, maybe let's just put our chart on regular scale and measure the height of our pattern. and put this thing at our breaking point, yep, from this point you can expect about like a 30-35% move on the upside, which is fantastic for the short term. So let's have our final conclusion and wrap up today's update. If in ZBEC we are looking bullish and the bottom is truly in, then okay, going down from the current point is pretty much not going to be an option for us, and we have to see in the next 5 to 7 days a continuation of this move up. And if in this phase we especially take this important high about 0.48 of a cent, that's going to be like a really bullish sign. On the other hand, if you do not want to go according to this chart from Bybit, which ended basically in this move on the downside, we took all the lows. In other words, this chart actually suggests we don't really need to go down anymore, and we don't really have any unfinished business down here. If you do not like this thing, then okay, let's pay attention to this chart from trading view, which ended, if I just hide everything, there we go. As you can see, we are still in this phase haven't taken the lowest low down here. Now, if this scenario is happening, meaning we are a bit bearish in the short term, then okay, from the current point, you want to see a move down. And in that phase, the moment that we get a break of this ascending channel, okay, at that point, maybe count on like a 5 to 10% more move on the downside, but odds are that's pretty much going to be it, the low of our whole correction starting from the highs. And in the next phase, you are going to see a magnificent move on the upside. And by the way, I forgot to tell you this. Let me be very clear. The coming move down, even if you are going to get it, it's absolutely not going to be a short opportunity, okay? Do not short this move. Odds are you're going to end up losing quite a good bit of money. Let's just get that out of the way. And again, if you want to be bullish and you want to say, I'm wrong in the short term, fair enough. Just be a bit more patient and see, are we going to get a break out of this ascending channel or not? If we get it, well, okay, at that point, we can say the bottom is in, and maybe, who knows, we are going to be quite lucky, and this is going to end up being an extension, as Roger suggesting, even from the current point around these areas, we can have like another 40 to even 50% move on the upside. I think definitely a possibility. So for now, all eyes on the next move and see what are we going to do. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in ZBCN's chart. Anyway, if you found any value in my content, I would really appreciate if you like this video and consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on Twitter. And if you want more, maybe you want a complete analysis for your own specific crypto, or maybe you want to learn some decent TA in order to be able to make good money in the markets, you can become a member and ask me anything you want. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time with your family and loved ones. Goodbye.